to 100%, which is fantastic, and the expectation on every online assignment. Today you're getting a math book. This math book needs to come with you every single day. You don't get to come to my room and then go like, oh, my math book. You'll take notes on another sheet of paper. Okay? So you need to carry it with you every single day. If we're going to go like 3 or 4 days without using it, I'll tell you, and then you can leave it in your locker. But otherwise, every morning, and you guys hear me keep hollering in the hallway, you don't have time to go to your locker between every class. Okay? You're going to start getting tardies. Tardies turn into detentions. So be aware of that. You should be on page 8 for me. Yesterday I showed you how to get to my lesson plans and where to find the video. Yes? Yes? Okay. So I had a few people tell me like, Ms. Hoff, I'm going to be gone Thursday and Friday. And I was like, appreciate the heads up. I got them the note sheets that they needed. I said, make sure you take your book home. When you come back on Tuesday, I'll touch base with you. That is the best thing to do, because then when you get back, you're rocking and rolling right with us. Because I'll tell you, next Friday you have a test. Okay, so we're going to rock and roll on this. All right, on my screen, you will see exactly what your book looks like. So if I take the time to write something down, you absolutely should be writing that down. Feel free to write more down if you want to, but you 100% should write down everything I do. All righty? I don't mind if you don't necessarily raise your hand and you toss an answer out, but we always get annoyed when one person wants to answer every single question. Agreed? Like, really? Okay, if you notice like you're the same one answering, maybe take an extra minute to 30 seconds before you throw out an answer. And if you never answer, be prepared for me to call on you. All right? Here we go. Today we're going to talk about rational numbers. A rational number is a number that can be written as the ratio of two integers in which the denominator is not zero. Rational numbers are one of 3 types. They may be a fraction. They may be a terminating decimal. Or they may be a repeating decimal. If a number is written in either of those 3 formats, then you know it's rational. Everybody should be writing this down. Okay? I think we all know what a fraction looks like, agreed? Pretty self-explanatory. Any idea what a terminating decimal is? Grady? No. Does anybody know what the word terminates mean? If you're terminated from your job, what happened? You got fired. You no longer work there. Your job has ended. So a terminating decimal ends. It might have 1 digit, it might have 7 digits, but it ends. 0.23 is a terminating decimal. 0.15674 is a terminating decimal. So what do you think a repeating decimal is? Alex? It repeats. It might be 1 number that repeats. It might be 12 numbers that repeat, but it never ends. 0.3333333333. 0.1212121212. Okay? Repeating decimals use the bar notation. Remember bar notation? You draw the line above whatever numbers repeat. Okay? Big indication, repeating decimal. So today we're going to work with numbers in fractions and decimals, and we're going to interchange them. Okay? So the first 2 examples they give us, the directions are to write each fraction as a mixed number or mixed number as a decimal. But you do not get a calculator today. You do not get a calculator today. You have to show me long division. Now, I will say I've been impressed. At first, people are like, oh my gosh, long division, I haven't done that. After we did 3, 4, 5 examples, then it was like, oh, I do remember how to do this. Okay? There are 4 example problems on the bottom, but not enough space to do them there. So let's slide up right under that bar notation sticky note on the left. Got it A asks us to change 3/4 into a decimal. by long division. Your numerator, in this case number 3, does it go inside or outside that divisor bar? Inside. 3 divided by 4. 3 divided by 4. So then we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 3? 0. So we put a 0. 3 is the end of the whole number, so we put a decimal point. Then we put a 0 underneath. How many times does 4 go into 30 without going over? 7. So my next number is a 7. What is 4 times 7? 28. What do I do to those numbers? Good. 30 minus 28? 2. What do I do next? Put a 0 and drop it down. Nicely done. And you ask yourself, how many times does 4 go into 20? 5. What is 4 times 5? 20. When I subtract them, I get 0. That means you're done. That means you're done. So 3/4 became what decimal? 0.75. One thing I ask of you, try to like exaggerate your decimal point, because otherwise I don't want to go like, is that a decimal point? Is that just a piece of pencil lead? Definitely make it known that your decimal point is there. Question. 0.75. Terminating or repeating decimal? Terminating. Nicely done. Terminating. Okay. Stay on that left-hand side. Let's go. Got it. B. -2/9. Can't do it. I've never been shown how to use long division with a negative number before. How do you do long division with a negative number? Alex? 110%. Nicely done. You're going to do it the same way. You just know that your answer is going to be negative. So the negative doesn't change your process whatsoever. So for me, I always put that negative out front just so that I don't lose it. Numerator on top, go inside or outside? Inside. Inside. And we roll through those same questions. So get up and go sharpen your pencil. How many times does 9 go into 2? 0. Then I put a 0. How many times does 9 go into 20? 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Put a 0. How many times does 9 go into 20? 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 20 minus 18 is, say it again, Grady. It's a repeating. Okay? What number repeats? 2. Only write it one time. So it's negative, whoopsie, sorry. Negative 0.2, the 2 is repeating. Somebody said to me this morning, well, technically, Miss Hoff, couldn't you write 0.22 and just put the line above both? Technically, yes, but you always want to write as few numbers as you can. Okay, so if you wrote 0.22 repeating, I would probably take half a point from you. All right, you guys pick C or D. C? Okay. I'm going to put this like right here, and I'm just going to work over top of this number. 4 and 13/25. What type of fraction is this? A mixed number. Very good. Okay, so writing a mixed number as a decimal, the only difference is that you have a whole number. In this case, what's your whole number? 4. So 4 is actually going to go in front of the decimal. Now we're going to do long division with 13/25 to fill in the back half. Okay? 13 is the numerator, so it goes inside. How many times does 25 go into 13? 0. Put my decimal, then I got to put a 0 there. How many times does 25 go into 130? 5 times. Nicely done. What is 25 times 5? 125. 130 minus 125? 5. 0, drop it down. How many times does 25 go into 50? Twice. What is 2 times 25? 50. When I subtract, I get 0. That means we're done. So our decimal right here is going to go here. So 4 and 13/25 as a decimal is 4.52. 4.52. Long division slowly coming back. Don't be afraid to chicken scratch on the side if you need to do some scratch work on the side. Okay? You have to show long division in order to earn full credit. All right. Look on the right page, page 9. Look at example number 4. Now what's it asking you to do? Yeah, now we're going to go the other direction, right? Now they're going to give us a decimal, and they want us to write it as a fraction. First question, 0.45, terminating or repeating? Terminating. It ends. Numbers that are terminating are going to use your place value with tens. So let's remind ourselves of place value. Number 1 is what place value? Tenths. Number 2, hundredths. And number 3, thousandths. Very good. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Now, technically, it continues on 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, and continuing. But most likely, whoever writes your homework assignments is not going to give you anything larger than the thousandth place, or really technically smaller than the thousandth. So when you have a terminating decimal, you take the number, in this case 45, and that's your numerator. The last digit of 5 is the second number, which is actually the hundredths. That's why they put it over 100. Then you have to say, what number can I divide out of 45 and 100? 5. So they divided a 5 out of both and wound up with 9/20. Today, when you're looking to simplify, look to divide out 2s, 3s, and 5s. If you can see larger numbers, that's great. But otherwise, you've heard the keep it simple, stupid, right? KISS. Sometimes people say, but don't forget KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. If you guys can easily divide out 2s, 3s, and 5s, there's no need to have to start with huge numbers. Okay, so let's do a practice problem. Off on the right here. What if I gave you 0.3? Terminating or repeating decimal? Terminating. So that means we're in base 10. What number is going to go in my numerator? A 3. Bless you, twice. What number goes in my denominator? 10. And then you ask yourself, can I reduce or divide anything out of 3 and 10? Nope. Done. How about 0.26? Terminating or repeating? Terminating. What's your numerator? 26. What's your denominator? 100. Can you divide anything out of them? What can you divide out? 2. 26 divided by 2? 13. 100 divided by 2? 50. Can you reduce further? 13 and 50? No, 13 is a prime number. Okay? Here's one I want you to try on your own. 0.125. 0.125. Write that as a decimal and reduce it as far as you can. Repeating or terminating? Decimal. Terminating, it ends. So what's your numerator? 125. What's your denominator? Ugh. What can you divide out? You could go 5. You know what I think is easier? I'd go 25 in this case. 5's not going to be wrong. You just have to do multiple. How many 25s are in 125? 5. How many 25s are in 1,000? 40. Can you reduce that further? Yeah. You can divide out another 5, right? 1/8. Now, some of you saw 5s. That's fine. You should have gotten 25 over 200. Then you probably saw another 5, which would have gotten you 5 over 40. And another 5 would have gotten you 1/8. So if you didn't see 25 right away, that's fine. Okay? Terminating decimals go out of 10, 100, or 1,000 pending place value. One of the few times Ms. Hoff does this. I do not want you to even look at what this gives you as an example on number 5. Okay? Maybe. What I'm going to show you is going to be way easier than what they show you. I don't know. Well, that's crazy. Okay. This decimal right here. Terminating or repeating? Repeating. Repeating decimals go over 9s. 999, 999, 9,999. So what number is being repeated here? A 5. That's your numerator. Now listen closely to this question. How many digits are in your numerator? How many digits? 1. So guess how many 9s go in the denominator? 1. Then you ask yourself, can I reduce 5 and 9? Nope. Done. Repeatings go out of 9. So how about this one? 0.12, and the 1/2 is repeating. So it's a repeating decimal. What's going to go in my numerator? 12. How many digits did we just write? 2. So how many 9s go in the bottom? 2. So you really have 12 99ths. But then you have to say, can I reduce this? What can you divide out? 3. 12 divided by 3. 4. 99 divided by 3. 33. Can you reduce further? No. So your denominator depends on if it's terminating or if it's repeating. Flip to page 10. Go down to the guided practice. I want you on your own to do 5 and 6 right now. Just 5 and 6. On your guided practice on the left-hand side, 5 and 6. I'd be careful. 5 and 6. 5 and 6. All right. Number 5, 0.32. First question you should ask yourself, repeating or terminating? Terminating. So my numerator to start with is 32, and my denominator is 100. But you can reduce that. It reduces all the way down to 8/25. 8/25. 6, negative 0.7 with the bar above it. Terminating or repeating? Repeating. What goes in my numerator? 7. What goes in my denominator? Can it reduce? I'm going to count this wrong. Why? Don't forget the negative. Now, the negative can go on top with the 7, or it can go out in front of the fraction. Avoid the denominator. It usually gets lost down there. So either one of these are okay. All right. Don't pack anything up. Hear me out on all the directions I'm going to give you, and then you're going to get the rest of the hour work. Today's homework is a worksheet because I don't think the book gives you enough space to do what I want you to do. Okay? Read carefully. You get the rest of the hour, which is near 20 minutes right now, to work. Okay? Don't pack anything up. Just sit still. My expectation on here, though, is that you have work shown and an answer and done in pencil for every single problem. Now, some are going to be longer than others. As you're working, please ask. Okay? Now, if Ray gets done with problem number 1, he could turn to Rebecca and say, like, hey, I got this for problem number 1. What did you get? Because they both have it done, they could compare answers. Ray keeps a hold of his paper. Rebecca keeps a hold of her paper. They could discuss it. I'm fine with that. If Ray turns to Rebecca and says, I hate problem number 1, what's the answer? She can say, like, no, dude, do it on your own. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with you asking to compare answers to each elbow partner, but never give up your paper. As soon as you give up your paper, or as soon as you give up your book, you don't know what that person's doing. You know what I'm saying? They could just be copying everything you have, and now you're involved with cheating, as are they. Make sense? Okay? The other thing is, never, ever, ever will you work together on math in any other class, especially enrichment. Okay? I have talked to all of your enrichment teachers. If you need help on math, you're asking your teacher or you're emailing me. You do not work together in any other class. I want to make sure you're doing the work and so that you can feel confident in what you're doing. Okay? Tomorrow when you come in, on the board, it's going to say you need a pencil, your math book, and your 1-1 worksheet. So when you guys get in here, and I do appreciate that you wait till my enrichment kids get out. When you guys get in here, get that stuff out. As soon as the tardy bell rings, that's when I start grading it. You are not going to turn this into me. As we're correcting it out loud together, I'm going to be walking around the room looking at your worksheets. If every single problem has an answer, every single problem has work, and it's all done in pencil, I'm not going to write anything on your paper because you just earned a 5 out of 5. If you miss some problems or you're missing some work, I'll probably circle it, and then I'll write the corresponding. Like if you only missed 1 or 2, you're just getting a 4 out of 5. If you didn't do the entire backside, you're probably getting a 2 or a 3 out of 5. Okay? You turn very little actually into me. So you want to make sure that you have a folder because as soon as we're done with this, you're going to want to keep it. Once we're done with the chapter test, I'll talk to you about cleaning out your lockers. Cleaning out your folders. Clean your lockers too, I guess. Okay? If you get done with this before the end of the hour, I'm totally fine. You put it away. Just make sure that you are working on something for school. If your computer is a temptation to play games, don't get on it. I told you guys yesterday, I took a device from somebody because they were already playing games. I also took a smartwatch because they were checking their notifications. Your phone needs to be in your locker and off. Your watch is fine if you're wearing it, but your notification should be off. The minute somebody's scrolling on their watch, you're not checking the time. Agreed? Okay? So don't be trying to fool me. If that's the case, it will be turned into the office. Even if a game is unblocked, even if YouTube is open, even if music is open, you are not to be on it. The school districts have spent $500,000, $500,000 for you guys to all have devices, and I guarantee they didn't spend that for you to play games. Okay? Never during the school day are you playing games, streaming music, or watching things on YouTube. Cool? Otherwise, it gets turned to the office. All right. The rest of the hour is yours to work.